Welcome to Outside Views. Today we're examining the UK government's decision to expedite a review of the contentious Internal Market Act, a cornerstone of the country's post-Brexit framework. Since its introduction in 2020, this legislation has been praised for maintaining seamless trade within the UK, but equally criticised for undermining the autonomy of devolved administrations. As we discuss this, we must consider the context and implications of this review for the future of governance in the UK and its relationship between Westminster, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Let's start with the basics. What is the Internal Market Act? The legislation was designed to replace the EU's trade rules, which previously ensured the free movement of goods, services, and labour within the UK's four nations. Post-Brexit, the UK needed its own framework to prevent internal trade barriers. On paper, the Act aims to protect the flow of goods and services across the UK, ensuring businesses can operate without the complexities of divergent regulations between England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. However, the story isn't that simple. For many in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, the Internal Market Act has been seen as an overreach by Westminster. Devolved administrations argue it undermines their authority and violates the principles of devolution established in the late 1990s. Kate Forbes, Scotland's Deputy First Minister, has been particularly vocal in her criticism. She called the Act a major constraint on devolved competence and emphasised that it was imposed on Scotland against the wishes of the Scottish Parliament. The Welsh Government, led by First Minister Alan Morgan, has echoed similar concerns, arguing that the Act represents a rollback of devolved powers. But why is this review happening now, and why has the UK government decided to expedite it? The review was originally scheduled for December 2025 as per the statutory deadline. However, the government announced in December this year that the review would be brought forward to summer 2025. Trade Policy Minister Douglas Alexander stated that this decision reflects the government's commitment to addressing concerns raised by devolved administrations and other stakeholders. Alexander emphasized the importance of the internal market for the UK economy, pointing out that internal trade accounts for approximately 10% of GDP. He also acknowledged the frustrations surrounding how the Act has operated, particularly the lack of clarity and engagement with devolved governments. By expediting the review, the government aims to strike a balance between maintaining a unified market and respecting the policy divergence enabled by devolution. For Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, this review is a chance to reassert their autonomy. The Scottish Government has made it clear that they want the powers of the Scottish Parliament fully restored, and Wales has called for greater recognition of the Senate's legislative authority. And meanwhile, Northern Ireland's situation is uniquely complicated by the Northern Ireland Protocol. The protocol, part of the Brexit withdrawal agreement, keeps Northern Ireland aligned with certain EU rules to avoid a hard border with the Republic of Ireland. And this creates a dual market situation. Northern Ireland remains part of the UK's internal market while also adhering to EU single market rules. For businesses and policymakers, navigating these overlapping frameworks has been a logistical and political minefield. The Internal Market Act's relationship with the protocol has only added to this complexity, creating further tensions that the review must address. So what could this review achieve? One potential outcome is a clearer delineation of powers, giving devolved administrations more flexibility to implement policies that reflect the specific needs of their regions. For example, Scotland could be granted the ability to enforce stricter environmental standards without fear of being overridden by UK-wide rules. Such changes could help rebuild trust between Westminster and the devolved governments, fostering a more collaborative approach to governance. Another possibility is that the review might lead to only minor adjustments, leaving the core structure of the Act unchanged. While this might preserve the integrity of the UK's internal market, it's unlikely to ease the tensions with devolved administrations. For Scotland, where support for independence remains strong, such an outcome could further fuel calls for a second independence referendum. So the stakes are high. The Internal Market Act is not just about trade, it's a symbol of the broader tensions between unity and autonomy within the UK. How Westminster navigates this review will have profound implications for the future of devolution and the UK's constitutional framework. But there is another layer to consider, the economic impact. The UK government argues that the Act is essential for ensuring economic stability and growth, particularly in a post-Brexit world where the UK faces significant trade barriers with the EU. Douglas Alexander has highlighted that Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland trade more within the UK than outside it, underscoring the importance of a seamless internal market. However, critics argue that this focus on economic integration comes at the expense of political harmony. They contend that the Act's centralization of power undermines the spirit of devolution and risks alienating the devolved nations. For those of us who view Brexit as a mistake, this issue highlights the unintended consequences of that decision. Brexit was supposed to bring greater control and sovereignty to the UK, but instead it has created new divisions, both within the UK and in its relationship with its closest trading partners. The upcoming review is a critical opportunity to address these divisions, but it will require genuine dialogue, a willingness to compromise, and a recognition of the unique challenges faced by each of the UK's four nations. And the question is, will Westminster rise to the occasion, or will this be another missed opportunity to repair the fractures caused by Brexit? So thank you for joining me today on Outside Views again, and if you found this discussion insightful, please share your thoughts in the comments below the video. Do you think the Internal Market Act should be fundamentally restructured, or is it essential for preserving the UK's economic unity? And if you haven't already, check out my earlier videos on Brexit's impact for more in-depth analysis. I'll see you next time with more stories that matter. Until then, take care, and the next video is right here in the end screen.